Alright, and back to the Cathedral Ward we go. Sorry about that. So, time to start progressing in our story. Last time, we got taken to Yharnam, and then we managed to open up the gate at the top of the steps. So next for our Lady Mothman, we need to enter into the old courtyard. See what we can do. First off, as always, we'll head out here. Check to our left. Still nothing. Gain all that shit back. Oh, we have a brief second. Here's our new current stats. Bump strength a little bit. Put a point into vitality. That's where these guys, while still a very large threat, are not nearly as much of a threat. They're not one-hit kills anymore. Oh Lord, my phone's going off. Alright. Alright, we got people interested here. Alright, that could have gone significantly worse. Definitely want to get rid of this guy, because he's a pain in the frickin' ass. So right now, our current storyline goal is going to be up there. So we're going to put that off for a moment. Didn't mean to jump attack there, but I'll take it. Sorry about that. I had somebody calling me. Alright. And we'll go ahead and start opening up some areas. Get a little exploration going. I'll show off the area we could have jumped to earlier. Good lord. Okay, cool. Friggin' phone going off like crazy, and one of my friends let me know he finally got a job, so that's good. Oh, well. Alright. That's that. And a decent amount of blood echoes from these guys. Here's a lovely little farm of madman's knowledge. Remember to always try and dodge as much at the last second as you can for these guys. Their attacks have a large sweep to them. So, as late as you can dodge as possible is usually the way to avoid all of the attack. That being said, even I miss it sometimes. It's fine. I'm by no means an expert on this game. So you want to clear out this little courtyard and head over here. Oh. And now you see what the flamethrower is actually for. It is not useless as I made it sound, but it has a very specific use that you, the player, can't really make as good a use of. It's a very good, fuck you, bird. Very good weapon for PvP. Namely because what it does is it makes it to where you can't regain health, because it gets rid of all of your orange health instantly. Swing down here real quick and grab these poison knives. Those are super useful. You don't gain the ability to buy them until way later in the game, so you always want to pick them up and get a little store of them. There's one particular enemy they're super useful. Now, if you were to buy the emblem key from the Bath Messengers, this is the gate that it would open up, and it's right on the other side of the little chapel there where our buddy's hanging out. So when you buy it, some messengers will show up and they'll pull this lever for you, and the gate will open. There we go. Took a second, and I'll show off where we're at just to put it in your mind. Out these stairs where this guy comes down, and then there's a little courtyard right there, a little graveyard. So, continuing on. Now you can actually push a lot of this off right here until after you beat the enemy, the boss. It's, no mind about it, the boss. That's at the top of those steps. So that is, I believe, her name is Adela? Bloodborne. I want to... Is mixed between Adela, Adeline, and a couple... No, Adela is the nun. She's the woman you meet in Yharnam. Is it Adeline? No, Adeline is the saint you meet in... Huh. Ariana. That is Ariana. Pardon me. A lot of A names in this game. That is Ariana. She is a prostitute who you can send to hang out with a boy, and we very much will after we beat the boss at the top of the stairs. Yellow. Caught that dude in the middle of a swing so he didn't stagger. This alleyway is a fuck. More poison knives. You got that bastard up top. So you always want to kind of just stay slightly out of his angles. Until you can do this. And then we should recognize that old sound. We met one of those already. And by using some bullshit, you can actually kill them without having to fight them. And I'm sure he dropped more than likely Quicksilver bullets, so we're going to go up there and get those in just a moment. Well, we're just going to go ahead and clear out this circle here. So if you were to buy the emblem key, you would not have to go to Old Yharnam at all. You would open up that gate, come through that alley, come up here. Come to these rooftops. And you'd be on these stairs. You'd open up that little gate, open up the little gate over there, and you would bypass having to go up there, having to go up to the old workshop. You'd have to bypass going to Old Yharnam. Like, all those areas, completely optional. The old workshop is optional for now. You do eventually have to go to it. But that's actually not to get to the old workshop, that's to get to the area beyond it. So, these enemies, while seemingly exactly the same as the previous ones, are two of the most dangerous enemies in the game. Not the most. But they do happen to use a status effect of the most dangerous enemy in the game. Which would be, in my opinion, the Winter Lanterns. So now that they're dead and I can talk about it, the crucifixes that they carry, which that's what those are, they are crucifixes in this world. Those are imbued with the status effect Frenzy. Frenzy is a bitch to fight against. Because what it does is it will build up meter and then instantly proc and take you down by 80% of your maximum health. So if you don't have 80% health, at least, you will die. It's an instant death. If you basically have taken a hit from anything in the game, you will die instantly. They suck. They're awful to fight against. As far as I can remember, I think those might be the only two in the game. There may be some way, way later, but there's not that many. That status effect, actually, you get introduced to it there, you have no idea what it is, and then later on, the only other enemies that use it, the Winter Lanterns, show up. And they are the way worse version of it. So, alright. We are going to go ahead and try out this boss. Hopefully we can get it in one. And this is Falcor. Just Fal. No, this is Vicar Amelia. Vicar Amelia is awesome. And she is a gatekeeper boss. She is straight up intended to teach you to get good or get wrecked. Because she is required to move on to the next stage of the game. Shit. That is a last-minute dodge attack, but it is harder to dodge. And much like all of the Beast boss, she will go through a phase where you break a limb and she will try and heal it. I'm going to take some damage there because I used up all my stamina. Oh, shit. I misread that. And she is just taking an ass ton of damage right now. Okay, I think I might have bumped my strength a little too high for this fight. But we're gonna get to why that's ridiculous shortly. So, I'm gonna just... If you ever want to extinguish your weapon for whatever needs, just switch off of it. So we're going to light this lamp. And inspect this. And we'll check out that locket shortly. You think now to betray me? By the gods. Fear it, Lawrence. So that was Master Willem of Bergenworth. He's developed eyes on the inside, but can he see why children love the Cinnamon Toast Crunch? Is it because it contains the old blood? Fucking love that cartoon. Amazing animation from Plague of Gripes. Anybody who doesn't know, I love his work. So yeah, that opened up a new stage of the game. I think we can actually see what it did. I think, if I'm remembering correctly, before I teleport back. Yep. It's now nighttime. It was around midday, and time has moved forward. So, it's now night. This has some moderate changes on the world. Those giants that I was fighting against will now be asleep. So you can mostly ignore them, or you can actually go fight them. You basically get free damage right off the bat. So... now you are once again left with a bevy of choices. So the intended path is all the way down these stairs, through the courtyard, and down another flight of stairs. There's an optional path over here, which will lead you to a whole new area that, while yes, it is optional, I really don't consider it to be optional, because you gain a new workshop tool that allows you to place runes. And if you looked at the stat screen, you will see these 4 circular marks on the top right. Those are your rune slots. You can't ever use those if you don't go down this path and fight the boss at the end. The boss is, bar none, the easiest boss in the entire game. It's actually a joy to fight in multiplayer. Not like it's hard at all to fight in single player. But usually if you want just easy experience, just go put your summon sign. Like, just go ring your bell by that boss door, and you will probably get summoned and just have the easiest time in the world gaining XP. Or gaining blood echoes, sorry. Oh, not this way. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and open up a new lantern down the intended path. Yeah, here's our squiddy boy. Twin bloodstone shards. Getting more of those. Oh, another thing to point out. I got the saw cleaver up to 4, and I got the hunter's axe up to 6. And I did that by going to Yharnam and farming for twin bloodstone shards. I think I got a couple more. I got 5, so I can get the saw cleaver up to level 5 now. Oh no. Okay, so we gotta go reload the zone. Okay. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and head back to the chapel. What's that noise? Don't know what that noise is. One thing we can actually do is I'm curious, so I'll just do it on the way there. Grab some bullets. And we'll head back this way. So I think she had fun in the recording booth on that one. I don't know whether that is supposed to infer that she is speaking to me and that something tragic has happened to her baby and she blames me, like a lot of people seem to blame foreigners in this world, or if her baby transformed, like her baby turned, and thusly something happened and she's actually speaking to her baby. Murderous long weapon? No, I'm not giving you anything for that. Kotowari. Your castle. Yes. I will send her to the Odin Chapel. There we go. Okay. I really don't care what happens to that guy one way or the other. Let's see. Did it affect him already? Yes. See, as I was saying earlier, these big giants are now all asleep. So you basically just get free friggin' damage on them. And if you're spinning to win, it's just a free kill. You just get free points for it. I need to go ahead and make my way back into this damn chapel. You spend all these blood echoes before something stupid happens. We'll return to the hunter's dream. Now, at this point in the game, I can literally get everyone except for one person in this little Odin chapel. Let's see. I say that. Can I actually? No. I personally can't. There's one I cannot. So, I just beat Vicar Amelia. When the DLC for this game came out, a lot of people didn't know when the intended time to start the DLC was. According to this, the intended time is right damn now. You were supposed to go and try the DLC right now. That is insane. The DLC is so freaking hard compared to the main storyline. It's not like enemies have ass ton more health, their patterns are less predictable, and they have a lot more defense, and they deal an ass ton more damage. So all around, it is a bad time to go into it now. The DLC is fine to do at the end of the game before you go fight the main boss. You would be fine to do the DLC. Do all of the DLC, fight the main boss, and then start New Game Plus, and you will be fine. Can we change hats? What's Lady Mothman looking good in? No. No. We're at 16 insight. What do we got? I grab that. These clothes are fantastic because they offer amazing defense against frenzy, which is that stat that I told you about, that later on you will come across an area where it's just like, hey, you're going to get frenzy and get fucked. And if we grab Gascoigne's garb and go back to Yharnam, we can get one of the characters I can't currently get. There we go. That's a standard look for this point in the game. If I wanted to, I could also do that, but I think it looks better with this coat. Alright, so first off, we are going to fortify the saw spear. I'm gonna repair that. I didn't pick up any new blood gems. And we are going to talk to the... We're going to channel these blood echoes. It now takes almost 10 grand. After this upgrade, it will take over 10 grand to get a level. So, kind of got to start picking where you want them a little more, a little less frivolously. So, I don't know what I want Lady Mothman to be doing in this game yet. But as it currently stands, Arcane is still pretty decent ways away. You're not really going to get anything that uses Arcane yet. Blood Tinge, said it before, I'll say it again. If you're going for a build for it, if there's a specific weapon you want to use that uses it, do it. If not, it's not hurting you to not have it. Strength and skill are always good. They just make your weapon stronger. Endurance is always fantastic to have. Vitality, it makes you able to take more hits. Your armor doesn't really help you in this game all that much. So, Anything you can do to basically give yourself more hits to take, go for it. So, let's see. I'm going to bump this to 30. Get that nice and even. Am I at? I don't think I have 2,500 worth of poppable blood echoes. Let's see if we do. I might. I did pick up a frenzied cold blood. But let's see. Oh, plenty. That's plenty right there. I'll leave the frenzied cold blood for later. And we'll pop that up to 14. Okay. So now that the area has reloaded, the Grand Cathedral is where we just fought Vicar Amelia. So we will use that shortly, I think. We want to go to the Cathedral Ward. And see if we may have triggered a return of an old friend. I think this might have done it. Oh, the original loadout of this game was awful on release. The game was fine. The game played great. The load times were terrible. And to make it even worse, the only thing you had to stare at was just a black screen with the word Bloodborne on it. So, here is our dear friend that we just met.
Oh, hello, dear. You weren't lying. This is a safe place. Thank you. I'm in your debt.
And we now have learned to curtsy.
I'd like to tender my thanks, but I can't imagine what to offer. All I can give is my blood. But would you even take a horse's blood?
Let's take it.
Good. Come close, dear. Don't worry, I've done this before.
The blood of Ariana. So, we have a couple of items. I'm going to scoot away from her. Let's go ahead and check them out real quick. The blood of Ariana is a one-use item. Heals HP and temporarily boosts stamina recovery speed. Blood taken from Ariana, Cathedral Ward, Woman of Pleasure. The sweet blood of Ariana restores HP and temporarily speeds stamina recovery. A member of the Old Healing Church would know that her blood is similar indeed to precisely what was once forbidden. This is a big hint as to who she is, or at least where she comes from. And that does lead a little bit into the main story of the game, which is weird for it being from an optional area. It is oddly disconnected from the game altogether. We got the gold pendant, Vicar Amelia's pendant, used to gain a blood gem. Straight up tells you, it is useless. Pendant of Vicar Amelia, used to change into a blood gem which fortifies weapons. This pendant, passed down among the vicars who head the healing church, is a reminder of the cautionary adage, words that will open the gates of Bergenworth. Okay? So this is used to tell you that there is a password used to words to open the gate of Bergenworth. There is a password to get to Bergenworth, but you don't really know what that is, but you did just hear it. So we're going to use this item, break it, and get the gold blood gem. Okay. Let's see what that was. When clerics began transforming into unspeakable beasts, the church needed something to retaliate with. It's basically the only thing that is unique about it. other than the description of like radial blood gems, which this just means it can fit in any slot. Okay, we also picked up the Hat of Jura, attire worn by retired hunter Jura. This worn wolf cap was his trademark. Jura is known through his contact with the powder kegs, the heretics of the workshop. He is said to have been both uncommonly kind and dreadfully foolish. Jura felt defeated by the state of old Yharnam and renounced his hunter's vows. And then Gascoigne's garb. You remember Gascoigne as the second boss we fought. Hunter attire worn by Father Gascoigne. The dingy scarf is a holy shawl and symbol of the healing church, from which Gascoigne would eventually part ways. Father is a title used for clerics in a foreign land, and there is no such rank in the healing church. So that tells you that Gascoigne, much like you, are a foreigner in this land. And did it? Yep. Here's who we've been waiting for. It's Eileen the Crow. We've met her once. Hello.
Perfect timing. I must warn you not to go near the tomb below Urban Chapel in Cathedral Ward.
Where we fought Gascoigne.
Hunt has gone mad. He's mad.
Okay.
Don't go near the tomb below Urban Chapel in the Cathedral Ward. I have business there.
Okay. So, Eileen already established herself as the hunter of hunters. So, a hunter named Henrik has gone mad and waits down in the Odin Chapel. Or the Odin Tomb. Which is where we fought Gascoigne. So odd that we fought a hunter who went mad, and now another hunter who went mad is down there waiting. Or skulking around, it seems. So we're going to see if once again we can get this in one shot. It would be lovely. Alright, so the reason that you want to help Eileen during this fight is that she can die. And you can actually accidentally kill Eileen. So it's kind of dangerous to do. Just really quick, before we talk to Eileen, let's look at air. Visceral attacks grant more blood echoes. A carol rune that transcribes inhuman sounds. The air sees sentimentality in the warmth of blood and acknowledges visceral attacks as one of the darker hunter techniques. More blood echoes gained from visceral attacks. Perhaps the air is a hunter who bears the echoing will of those before him. Okay, now let's talk.
That wasn't necessary of you.
Kinda was.
We made it with our lives. Not bad at all. You must have killed Gascoigne as well, then. He was falling apart, I'm sure it had to be done. But try to keep your hands clean. A hunter should hunt beasts. Leave the hunting of hunters to me.
Approval.
Try to keep your hands clean.
Okay, so we're going to head back to the Hunter's Dream and take a look at some stuff. So she points out that she knew Gascoigne, and Henrik was there, and when you kill Henrik, he leaves a rune called Air. So, we come up to the Insight Shop. We're not going to buy anything, but we're going to look at something. Henrik's Hunter Cap. Hunter's hat worn by Henrik the Old Hunter. The taciturn old hunter Henrik was once partners with Father Gascoigne, and though they were a fierce and gallant duo, their partnership led to Henrik's tragically long life. Henrik's unique yellow garb is resistant to bolt and will be a great help to any hunter who has inherited the onus of the hunt. And they all say the same thing. So, this is interesting. Old Hunter Henrik. Henrik is called Old Hunter just not only because, been around for a while. He's actually old. He is, in fact, Gascoigne's father-in-law. The little girl that we found in Central Yharnam that wanted us to find her daddy and her mommy. That's her. Henrik is her grandfather. So, let's paint the family picture here. You have a woman, native to Central Yharnam, and her father, Henrik. Whatever happened to his wife or her mother, however you want to phrase it, I don't know. There's no indication that she ever had a mother. You assume she had to have. And they're doing their thing. He's a hunter. Everything's fine. And then at some point, this foreigner, Gascoigne, shows up. Henrik's daughter falls in love with him. They get married. And they have a kid. They raise their child with this music box. Don't know where they got it. And eventually, Gascoigne starts to lose his grip from blood ministrations. He starts to go more and more beastly. Henrik at this point really hasn't. I mean, we just saw him. We just fought him. He wasn't a beast. But the death of his son has apparently driven him over the edge to where he... I don't really know what makes Eileen have to go kill him. And maybe he's trying to leave the hunters, and maybe he has attacked someone before. I'm not really sure. He may have been trying to come after us because we killed Gascoigne. Regardless, he had to be eliminated. So now we have Gascoigne dead. The mother dead. She's dead on that rooftop where we got the blood gem from her pendant. The grandfather, Henrik, is dead. And the only persons left are the two daughters. Gascoigne had two daughters. I said one earlier, but he actually had two. So, the daughter that gave you the quest, if you bring the pendant back without destroying it, without getting the blood gem out of it, she will get very upset and try to go... I forget what happened. Yeah, she'll try to go and find something. I'm having a weird time remembering the chain of events because it's been a while since I've done it that way. Normally, I just don't ever talk to them again because I did it right the first time and then never did it that way again. It leads to her leaving her house, the safety of her house, and going down to the sewers and getting eaten by that pig. You kill the pig and it drops a bloodied white ribbon that you can let your messengers wear. And it straight up says, it's like, it's hers. Like, she went to go do something and died. So the whole family dies. Not necessarily due to your... Also, if you ever can't find the doll, she's chilling here. Not necessarily due to your intervention, but the whole family will die. Alright, we're going to have our little messenger guys. We're at the Urn Festival. And they're adorable. Now every time we leave a message, those little guys will be hanging out wearing their pots on their heads. Alright, so we just got a new blood gem. While we're in here, let's go ahead and check it out and see what it would do. Attack versus beasts up 12.6%. That's pretty decent. Let's see, what are we getting rid of? 10.5. So you know that it goes down even though it is attack up. That's because it's only effective against beasts. So since we're currently fighting beasts, I'm going to go ahead and replace the 7.6 one. 7 point, whatever it was. Why do I not have that one on? Oh. Check this real quick. Oh, I have not restocked this thing in a while. .7 or yeah, that's way better. All right. So we got 6230. Let's see if we can do anything. I need more than that. Maybe. Yeah, okay, we got enough. So let's pop one more into Vitality, and that'll do it. Alright. Back to the Cathedral Ward. Because I want to go get a lantern real quick. I'm going to get a lantern to the next area, so that way, when the time comes to actually need it, we won't have to go and find it. So we're just going to pop into an area, pop right back out, and then we're going to go head off to the woods to one of the woods, different woods, and get the optional area. Sorry, I just got a message from my wife. Had to check that real quick. No need. Anytime you see these guys, just kill them outright. Just no hesitation. Don't think about it. Just do it. Make sure they're not casting a spell and just start swinging. The more you delay your inputs, the more they're going to move around. Here's what we needed. We need to continue on with Alfred.
Let's think up something to discuss. Just tell me what piques your interest.
So tell me about the corrupted Vile Bloods.
There's something I want to tell you.
Oh.
A bit of wisdom from the eminent master Ligarius.
Hell yeah.
Once, a scholar betrayed his fellows at Bergenworth and brought forbidden blood back with him to Canehurst Castle. It was there that the first of the inhuman Vile Bloods was born.
Okay.
The Vile Bloods are fiendish creatures who threaten the purity of the Church's blood healing.
So
Pleasure.
that sets up another optional area called Canehurst. Kind of gets it in your mind, makes you want to find out what it's about. Canehurst is vampires. You just have ghosts and vampires. So we've been fighting werewolves. There's ghosts, there's vampires. Don't fucking tell me that this is not just the spiritual successor to Castlevania. Like, this is the best 3D Castlevania, in my opinion. Straight up. Like, I had nothing to hide about that. Like, in my opinion, this is the best 3D Castlevania we ever got. Best one we're, like, I'm not gonna say it's the best one we're ever going to get, but it's definitely the best one we ever got. And that's kind of sad. Castlevania is amazing in 2D, but when you move it to 3D, I don't really care for it. So all that to say, like, there was a discussion that came out when this game originally released, especially whenever the trailers were coming out, that one of the first weapons you saw was the trick cane. So going around fighting werewolves with this thing, you got your big cloak on and everything. And it's like, oh, it's like Castlevania. It's like Dark Souls meets Castlevania, and it is. It's more than that, but it is totally Dark Souls meets Castlevania. I think we also got Eye of the Blood-Drunk Hunter. Eye of the Blood-Drunk Hunter, its pupil is collapsed and turned to mush, indicating the onset of the Scourge of Beasts. A hunter who goes drunk with blood is said to be taken by the nightmare, destined to wander forever, engaged in an endless hunt. It is a fate that no hunter can escape. So, what that is when you go back to the place I just ported in from, if you go outside to the graveyard, there is something that will grab you and lift you up into the air. And assuming you don't know what that thing is, no matter what happens, whether you know what it is or not, it will bring you to the DLC. And you go ahead and get the thing for the DLC out of the way automatically. You can get the lantern for it right out of the bat. I personally am not going to, because I can port there at any point in time. I say as I'm running down here specifically to get a frickin' lantern out of the way. More twin bloodstone shards, always good. Want to get him up here. There's a new mechanic that's introduced in here. These fuckers. What he is hucking at you will not hurt you all that much. It will cause some damage. But what it actually is a vial of oil. And he's always going to be surrounded by people that have fire. And in this game, oil plus fire means that you will die in one hit. And we've already fought one of these guys, so we kind of already know what he's about. They even managed to remix those guys in the DLC, and they're awesome! They are a pain in the ass to fight. And no matter how high a level I got, I never got comfortable fighting them. But they are fantastic enemies. Like, definitely don't let, like, my inability to do shit well dissuade you from them. They are great enemies. They are a perfect remix to that type of character. Alright. As previously stated, I just wanted to get this out of the way. Done with that. Thankfully, they did make it to where porting back to this... I went to the wrong one. Porting back to this lantern doesn't take that long. Not lantern. Porting back to the Hunter's Dream. I guess because there's not really much of an area to load. I mean, it's pretty, but there's not a lot there. It's kind of isolated in its own little section. Nothing connects to anything. So it was smart of them to make it not connected to the rest of the world, I guess is the way to say it. Alright, all that, and I went to the wrong damn lantern. I meant to go to the Grand Cathedral, which is up at the top of these steps. And just like that. Deal with these guys as quickly as possible. Just do not give them an opportunity to do a damn thing. Like, seriously, just don't let them touch you. Yeah, I should have ported to that lantern. But it's fine. Sorry. I've had this gnat flying around here, just annoying the piss out of me for like the past hour. I think I finally got it. So, if I were to have come down here before fighting Vicar Amelia, I would have had a much easier time. At least I say that. I think I may have bypassed some step. Alright. Yeah, I think I might have bypassed a step somewhere. Must be whatever happens in the next phase. Or whatever triggers that. Normally there is an enemy type that gets summoned up throughout this area. A little inky black witch just gets summoned up. And they're not super dangerous or threatening, really. Oh. Important thing to know about these guys. You can roll into them. Like, if they haven't started attacking yet, it'll stagger their animations. But, not really threatening. Two hits, they're done. As with a lot of the enemies in this game, just swing. Just swing on them. Aha. This is kind of annoying. I don't know why the audio is not picking up for him. Bump up their voices. That was an interesting character. So, in Souls games, there is a character that is in all of them called Patches. Called Patches the Hyena in Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3. In this game, he's Patches the Spider. That was him. But he only appears after, I believe, after you beat Lady Vicar Amelia. And he has the chance to appear in every single window. So, just, there's a chance you'll run into him. We happen to run into him super early. He gives you a lattice deformed rock, or perhaps a meteorite. Appears useless, but possesses some odd gravitational force that prevents its riddance. A dubious soul once said, "Step lightly round to the right of the great cathedral and seek an ancient shrouded church. The gift of the Godhead will grant you strength." So, if you recall, in Yharnam, there were statues that were like some skinny Cthulhu-looking dudes whose heads looked a lot like this thing. Now, it's not saying go to Yharnam, although you could kind of read it like that. But no, it's definitely not saying go to Yharnam. Saying to there's a just like we came to the left of the old cathedral. If you go to the right, pardon. If you go to the right, there's a different path. Yeah, see, normally one of those enemies would spawn right here. Rule number 1, just swing first. That's all you gotta do. Every time I've been hit in this game, it's because I didn't swing first. Or because I got overzealous and just didn't follow up with things. Mm-hmm. And then a lot of times they'll drop blood vials, so it's useful to just keep an eye when you kill them. Up down here, more twin bloodstone shards. I think I need 8. Back up to 5, so it's where I was before I upgraded this saw cleaver again. Damn it. I even knew where it was, I just couldn't get the camera to behave properly. I love games where one of the main enemies you fight is a camera. Alright, I want to see if we can show off something here. So, this crow, for some reason, straight up doesn't attack you. I don't know why. We're going to hit this just in case something dumb happens. This is a link back to where we just talked to Patches. I want to see if I can talk to him again.
Not even death offers solace, and the blood imbibes you. Seek you the ancient shrouded church, hidden to the right of the main cathedral. The gift of the Godhead will grant you strength.
So anyone that played, or I'm not going to say anyone that played it, but anybody that was moderately obsessed with Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, actually not Dark Souls 2, he wasn't in 2, Dark Souls 3, or basically, um, hell, Demon Souls he was in. He was also in Armored Core, which is weird. He always has the same voice actor. Like, he always sounds exactly the same. And if you know him, you know him. Heard that voice the first time. And although it's not exactly the same pitch and everything, it is the same voice. Like, he has it kind of... I'm not going to say pitched down. But he does have it, like, a little more... He sounds a little wearier, I'll say. Weird effect when you hit this horse. If I can get it to... Yeah. So yeah, since these guys are not appearing... Like I said, I'm not really sure what I haven't done to make them not appear. But since they're not, the boss of this area I really want to get to because it's going to be an easy-ass time. I can guarantee you that. Hell, in the Souls game, in the From Software games, the character of Patches the Spider gets so much... Not Patches the Spider, Patches the Hyena gets so much play that in the final DLC of all of the Souls games so far, which would be the Ringed City of Dark Souls 3, he is straight up one of the main characters. And one of the most interesting characters in that entire DLC. Hell, in the entire game, he's one of the most interesting characters. Possibly. I guess that might be the cut. Yo, Brickman. Whoa. Weapon wasn't quite long enough. If I had extended it, it would have worked. Alright. Shortcuts. This leads back down to the area where we fought the first big guy of this area, of the zone. Come on, boyo. Shit. That's okay. Shortcut has been made. We'll take it. I wonder. I'm very curious to see what happens when this loads. I'm wondering if there is a required something or other. It might be the level of insight that I have, or that I don't have, I should say. Yeah, no, it's Still nothing. Ladies love Lady Mothman. Woo. Get it, get it, get it, get it, get it. Alright. Everybody calm the fuck. Yes, everyone have calmed the fuck. Oh, fucko. Shit. Always forget that second swing, man. Never forget the second swing. Alright. Open up another chest in this game. Very few. I want to point out, this dude's got like a face on his tummy. He's got no real face under his like under his hood. This is a weird design. I like him though. Ooh. Very superficial damage these bitches are doing. That's fine. So, yeah, if the shadowy figures, the witches, are not appearing to me, then this boss fight's gonna be frickin' easy. Like, easier than normal. Like I already said earlier, this is the easiest boss fight in the whole damn game. But... oh, nope. Couldn't get off that easy. That's okay. It's almost better that it's not that easy. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, just got reminded you need 0 insight for the shadow witches to not show up at all. Which, I'll be honest, I don't recall ever having run this game with 0 insight. It was right above me. Alright, now the hunt begins. The hunt just ended. And there we go. That was probably my best run of that boss fight ever. That was stupidly easy. Alright. So a lot of people will get this lantern and then just leave. These notes. Special item awaits ahead. We're going to rate that as fine. That's a fine note. Time for special items. Once again, I'm rating these fine. Throw out some ratings. Trap waits ahead. Bad. I mean, accurate for him. A hunter is never alone. So yeah, this dude got fucked over. These witches, their corpses are gone now. They'll appear later on as regular enemies. But the witches that have fought out here, they were the same as the eye scoopers in Yahar Ghul, and that's good to note because they were covered in eyes. They had managed to rip out the eyes of many, many, many victims, and I suppose this guy was no different. So you get the Rune Workshop tool. Enables etching Carol runes into one's consciousness. Runesmith Carol, student of Bergenworth, transcribed the inhuman utterings of the Great Ones into what are now called Carol runes. The hunter who retrieves this workshop tool can etch Carol runes into the mind and attain their wondrous strength. Provost Willem would have been proud of Carol's runes, as they do not rely on blood in any measure. But can they see why children love the Cinnamon Toast Crunch? We are made men by the crunch, undone by the crunch. Seriously. Anyone who ever watches this fucking video, go to Plague of Gripes channel and watch just everything. Everything he's ever done. It's fine. Especially his Bloodborne and Dark Souls things. They are all fantastic. So we're going to repair. Still shouldn't have enough to fortify. Is it because it carries the old blood? We do have enough. Which means we're going to add a new blood gem type. So, this is very useful, and you can get it very early on. I've stated before that for the first large chunk of the game, you're fighting beasts. You fight beasts throughout the majority of the game. And two things that beasts are weak against are fire and serration. The Saw Cleaver is the best serrated weapon in the game, base game. And this blood gem makes all of its damage go to fire damage. So you can slap that baby on there. And see if you can find anything that increases anything else. And the answer is it doesn't. Except for this one, which increases the damage dealt to beasts, which you want. You can pull this off and put it on something else if you want to. But it's really not going to make a difference. You're only really ever using two weapons at a time anyway. So we now have some more blood echoes. Let's see what we can do with them.
Well, what is it? Very well. Let me...
Get 3 levels. So that's up to 30 already. I'm going to push this to 20 and then leave it for a while.
Farewell.
And then before the next stream, I will try and figure out what we actually want to start doing with Lady Mothman. Like where we want her to end up. I have this bad habit of playing through these games and power leveling the characters until they can use everything. And that's not optimal at all, and it kind of makes the game a little too easy to play in certain areas. But I still may do that. I do enjoy doing it. So let's see. Now that these are both at level 6, this never needs to be beyond level 1. We can actually take a look at what we want to do as far as if maybe we want to start using another weapon. Like, honestly, these 2 weapons will carry you the whole game. First time I played this game, these 2, all the way through. I may replace this with a certain sword weapon later on, when I get access to it, but we'll see. Trying to remember if we can gain access to something right now. Looking it up real quick. Yep. We're gonna go grab something real quick. Because I was a stupid. And I'm big enough to admit that. So earlier when we went to the old workshop, I didn't really do anything in there. I just kind of bypassed it and went straight to the shortcut area because I didn't want to die before unlocking the shortcut. I wanted to get that shortcut open as fast as possible so that we could continue exploring. I didn't want to spend a lot of time in there. But now that we have gotten through with the Witches of Hemwick and we've beaten Vicar Amelia, I'm going to take the remainder of this stream and get to the top of the workshop because there is an item that I want. And like I said, if I take the time to get everything done right, it might replace our axe here. Now, there are some instances where in which the axe is a better weapon, and we're going to go ahead and do this just in case of the dumb. Whoop. That fire damage. Run, 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 run. You bitch. Give. Healing Church Workshop. Come on. Really? That took more damage than I should have, but whatever. No. Let's see if we can take care of that. That's sorted pretty quickly. Bitch! They're fine. Alright, wrap that around. Make sure we haven't missed anything. We haven't. We got the item from the area below. So we're going to go ahead and check this area as well. Nothing. Like I said, we're only really up here for one item. And this ain't it, but we'll take it. Much like I was saying in some of my Fallout 4 videos, that's the item we're after. I'll check that for a second as soon as we link out in here. Link! I just want to get Link and the Hunter in a room full of pots and just watch them go to town. No, I said in my Fallout videos, there's certain things that I wish I could just go back and re-experience for the first time ever. One of them is this game. Like, I would love to be able to go just completely blind and experience this game again. Just because that first time is so freaking great. Radiant Sword Hunter badge for Ludwig's successors. Now, we've not yet heard a lot about Ludwig, but he is very important. One of the badges crafted by the Healing Church, the Radiant Sword, indicates the heirs to the will of Ludwig. These hunters, also known as Holy Blades, are what remains of an ancient line of heroes that date back to a very early age of honor and chivalry. Definitely. So you would get up here, you'd get to this door, and remember, this was very early on. This was right after you had beaten the Bloodstarved beast. You'd get up to that door and think, oh, well, now what? If you didn't, like if you proceeded to climb up, then you would go back down, find that shortcut, go through that, probably die a couple times. Just because that area is kind of hard if you're not used to it. You don't know what's where. But, yeah, if you were to go down there, finally get the shortcut, eventually you'll make it back out to this area, and it'll all loop around. Once again, just making the shortcuts in DS2, which is, once again, a lot of the reason people had problem with DS2, is that DS1, Dark Souls 1, had this amazing layout where the shortcuts all felt real and earned, and meanwhile, all of the shortcuts, and hell, even some of the travel points in Dark Souls 2 just didn't. The worst one ever is in Majula. If you just look out over the coast, you can see Hades Tower of Flame, and it's like way the fuck off in the distance. But if you then you just take like a 5-minute little hike in the sewer, and you're there. And there are a lot of areas that are like physically on top of each other, and it's a mess. Still love the game. Like, I still do enjoy it. I'm not going to sit there and try and take that away from it. But it is a fucking mess. So, what did we just unlock? Well, we unlocked Ludwig's rifle. I'm not going to get it. It's an upgrade to the blunderbuss. And it's good, but it's a blunderbuss. It's the same thing. Let's get a look at it. Rifle typically used by Healing Church hunters. It is said that this rifle was employed by Ludwig, the first hunter of the church. Its long, heavy barrel makes up in range for what it lacks in reload speed. Ludwig's rifle exhibits several departures from the workshop's design, suggesting that the church anticipated much larger, inhuman beasts. And the real reason we wanted to go up there, Ludwig's Holy Blade. This is the weapon that I want. A trick weapon typically used by Healing Church hunters, it is said that the silver sword was employed by Ludwig, the first hunter of the church. When transformed, it combines with its sheath to form a great sword. The Healing Church workshop began with Ludwig and departed from old Gehrman's techniques to provide hunters with the means to hunt more terrifying beasts, and perhaps things still worse. So this gives a lot of insight right here. A lot of information. I'm gonna have to farm like shitting back to get this thing upgraded. Okay. So what it states is that this is the upgrade to the Kirk hammer. The Kirk hammer turns into a giant two-handed hammer when you transform it, but this transforms into a great sword. It is the great sword of this game. But it tells you right there, the Healing Church workshop began with Ludwig and departed from old Gehrman's design techniques to provide hunters with the means to hunt. So Ludwig started the Healing Church workshop after he left Gehrman. Now, in this playthrough in particular, we have not touched on who the hell Gehrman is. Gehrman, for anyone who just straight up doesn't know, is this guy. This guy is an old hunter. He missing a leg. He has there right there. He's missing his right leg. But this dude pretty much built all these fucking weapons. He designed the trick weapons. He is one of the oldest hunters. Him, Ludwig, and character we haven't met yet, Lady Maria. And basically, through their disagreements, Ludwig shot off to the healing church, just to go help found the healing church. Meanwhile, Gurman stayed behind with the old hunters. The old hunters are the characters that you come across in the Old Hunters DLC, which you can access outside of the chapel. Or outside of the cathedral. So, we beat Vicar Amelia. We beat the Witches of Hemswick. We got the Radiant Sword Hunter's badge. I'm going to, off camera, grind out to get that sword and get it leveled up to level 6. Probably be replacing the axe with it. And keeping this to deal with weaker enemies that don't really need all that oomph. I might switch back and forth between, just depending on how I'm playing. And like I said, I will try and gain more of an insight as to how I want Lady Mothman here to end up. So that being said, I believe we will call it for this video. If you watch the VOD on YouTube, by all means, hit that like, hit me up with a comment. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to stay up to date. It is going to help out. Till then, thanks for watching. I greatly appreciate it. And I'll see you next time.